They don't want you to realize how powerful you really are. Because if you did, everything you know about the world would change overnight. Psychic powers aren't made-up stories. They're just forgotten abilities. Things like intuition, telepathy, remote viewing, even shifting probabilities. These aren't rare talents. They're natural parts of you, just sleeping in plain sight. Since you were a kid, you've been told to be quiet, sit still, memorize stuff, and never question what's possible. That wasn't advice. It was control. What if the thoughts in your head aren't just random noise, but actual signals? What if the images you see in your mind aren't just imagination, but the start of creating something real? You've been trained to dismiss psychic ability as nonsense or madness, but deep down, you've always felt like something's off. Like there's something important you're supposed to remember, but no one ever taught you. You're not here just to watch reality. You're here to shape it. This isn't a lesson, it's an awakening, and it starts now. You were told thoughts stay inside your head. Just quiet echoes bouncing around, harmless and private. That's the first lie. Thought isn't passive or invisible. It's not even just yours in the way you think. Thought is energy. It vibrates, it radiates, it reaches out. Like electricity through wires or a radio signal in the air, your thoughts don't stay trapped inside. They spread out, shaping your reality, often without you even noticing. The world doesn't just happen to you. It responds to you. Every feeling you have, every image you replay in your mind, every belief you hold, acts like a magnet, pulling in matching experiences. You're not just reacting to your day, you're creating it without even realizing. That awkward conversation that went wrong, that unexpected lucky break, the tight feeling in your chest that matches the tension at work. None of it is random. You're sending out a frequency, and reality, blind but loyal, answers it exactly. When you truly get this, you stop just going along for the ride in your life. You realize you've had control all along. Most people just don't know they're steering. And this isn't some spiritual cliche for a t-shirt. It's a fact. Every signal you send out comes back as a response. Your thoughts aren't whispers. They're blueprints. You've seen this before. Like the day you woke up anxious and everything felt off. Or the time you walked into a room and instantly changed the mood without saying a word. Or the strange coincidences that happen after a moment of clear thinking. That's not luck. That's you. Every experience you have is a reflection of your inner state. But if thoughts are so powerful, why don't more people use them on purpose? Because most aren't really thinking. They're stuck on repeat, running old stories, fears, and wants they picked up from others. They're not thinking. They're just remembering what the world told them to want or fear. And when you replay the same inner story, you get the same outer life, over and over. Until you start to wonder, is this just how life is? It's not. It's just how your thoughts work. And here's where it all changes. The moment you stop treating your thoughts like random noise and start treating them like commands, things shift. You move into the space where reality gets shaped. Not later, not by force, but by being in tune. That's where the real work starts. It's not about wishing for something to happen. It's about becoming the kind of energy that makes it inevitable. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you consistently are. Most people will never hear this, and there's stuff we can't share here. That's why we created the Free Insights Academy newsletter. Just go to the link in the description, enter your email, and get access to exclusive teachings, plus a free copy of the Kybellion while it's still available. When you realize thoughts aren't just inside your head, you stop taking them so personally. You learn to work with them like you do your breath or muscles. You notice the tone you wake up with. You become aware of the feelings behind your desires, and soon you'll start to see reality shift in small ways. Delays fade. Resistance eases. Coincidences multiply. This is the start of psychic growth. Not flashy magic, but invisible cause meeting visible effect. At first it's subtle, then it becomes impossible to ignore. This is what we call the first pulse. It's the moment your mind starts sending a new kind of signal, one that's chosen by you, not the world. It's the point where your inner vibe lines up with a reality you couldn't reach before. The change isn't loud or dramatic. It's quiet but exact. You'll notice your inner state shows up in your conversations, your health, your timing, and your results. Thought stops being just a reaction and becomes a tool, a power, a current. And once you feel that first pulse, the door to everything else opens. You stop waiting for permission, signs, or approval. You start shaping your day on purpose. You become the tuning fork, not the noise. You realize the strongest force in your life isn't what you do. It's what you think over and over, with feeling and belief. You're not just a person moving through the world. You're a signal shaping it. The first pulse is only the beginning. Most people think they're thinking, but really, they're being thought by the world. By habits, by countless silent voices. People don't really choose their thoughts. They carry them around like a second skin. Walk down any street, sit in any classroom, scroll through social media, and you'll see it. Most minds aren't in charge. They're reactive, scattered like leaves in the wind. The average mind isn't a leader, it's a prisoner, stuck running the same loops it didn't create, chasing feelings it can't explain, worrying about outcomes it already imagined. This is the hidden setup of modern life. Your mind has been taken over, not with chains, but with noise, conditioning, repetition, and suggestions. You're told what to want, what to fear, and who to admire. You're trained to quiet your inner voice, unless it agrees with what everyone else says. And when you do try to think for yourself, to feel something real beneath all that noise, the world pushes back. It calls you irrational, selfish, or naive. Slowly, bit by bit, you give up control of your own awareness. You become a follower in your own mind. But that control never really disappears. It waits quietly, steady, untouched by all the mental chaos. That control, that throne, is your birthright. It's not based on logic or emotion, but on awareness. Not just the kind of awareness where you sit quietly and then forget what you noticed, but the kind that decides where to focus, what thoughts to accept, and what beliefs to let go of. True control starts with clarity. It means knowing you are not your moods, your passing urges, or your recycled fears. You're the one who sees those things and can choose how to respond. You're the eye watching all the noise. When you start living from that place, everything changes. You don't panic when fear shows up. You don't spiral when doubt sneaks in. You see those feelings, name them, and let them pass, like weather. And slowly, the storm loses its power. That throne inside becomes more than just an idea. It becomes your real power spot. A place you come back to with every breath, every choice, every moment of awareness. From there, you don't fight your mind. You guide it. You don't get pulled around by emotions. You shape them. You don't get swept up in the world's endless drama. You watch, decide, and act on purpose. The world doesn't teach this. It teaches you to obey. It rewards you for going along and punishes you for speaking up. That's why most people never truly meet their own mind. They live on the surface, reacting, repeating opinions, borrowing thoughts. They speak from memory, not from knowing. But if you pause once and ask, who is thinking this thought? You break through the fog. You create space. And in that space, control is born. Taking back your throne isn't about becoming cold or distant. It's about being intentional. It means choosing your mental environment just like you choose who you let into your home. You stop letting your inner critic run the show. You stop treating doubt like wisdom. You stop accepting guilt as truth. A strong mind isn't obsessed with being positive. It's grounded in truth. And truth, when you really feel it, is quiet, focused, and firm. When you start living from that place, psychic growth happens naturally. Your energy isn't wasted on conflict inside. Your will isn't spread thin by 100 half-beliefs. You become aligned, and alignment unlocks the abilities that once seemed like myths. Your intuition sharpens, your insights go deeper, and the world responds to your presence, not just what you do. That's why the ancients never separated magic from discipline or power from awareness. They knew before you can move things with your mind, you have to master your attention. Before you can see beyond illusions, you have to clear the fog inside. The mind is a temple. The will is the priest. And clear thought is like a prayer or command. The world doesn't need more noise. It needs more people in control. And that starts right here. Sit on the throne of your mind, not as a dictator, not as a child, but as the quiet architect who knows every thought you allow is a seed. The world you walk into tomorrow grows from the thoughts you let take root today. You've been taught to fear your emotions, to see them as flaws or storms to hide or fix. But the truth is, your emotions aren't obstacles. They're raw energy waiting to be shaped. Anger, fear, jealousy, shame, these aren't signs something's wrong with you. They're invitations, signals of hidden power, unspoken truths, and unrealized potential. The system that raised you never taught this, because emotional control is the key to real freedom. And freedom is the one thing the system can't sell, tax, or control. Emotional growth starts when you stop trying to get rid of uncomfortable feelings, and instead, ask what they're made of. Fear, at its core, is uncertainty sharpened by perception. Anger is love twisted by injustice. Jealousy points to desires you've forgotten. These feelings aren't enemies. They're elements, like lead, iron, or mercury. And like any alchemist knows, base metals aren't useless. They're the materials you work with to create gold, but only if you learn how. Most people don't. They push feelings down, explode, or avoid them like a virus, not realizing that avoiding feelings actually gives them more power. When you suppress a feeling, it doesn't go away. It grows stronger. It sinks deep into your subconscious and starts shaping your thoughts, your choices, your energy, all without you knowing it. That's why your emotional state matters more than your intentions. You can visualize success, say affirmations, repeat mantras. But if your main emotional vibe is fear or lack, those words are just static. The message doesn't get through. Reality doesn't respond to what you pretend to feel. Your feelings reflect who you really are. This is a key idea behind all psychic ability that many forget. Your emotions give energy to your thoughts. They're like the power source behind your mental signal. When you learn to control this, you don't just feel better. You become a source of energy. So, how do you change your emotions? First, you watch them. Not judge them, not analyze them. Just watch. If you feel fear rising, don't call it failure. Just breathe. Notice it. Give it space. Tell yourself, this is energy. I'm not letting it control me. I'm going to change it. That pause, that moment, is where the real change happens. Anger can turn into clarity. Sadness can deepen your understanding. Shame can become humility. The more you practice this, the more your emotions learn to trust you. They stop exploding out of control and start communicating with you. You stop reacting and start refining yourself. Your emotions are one of your best psychic tools. They can sense lies before you hear them. They can hint at what's coming, if your emotions are clear. Most people's feelings are clouded by old pain, stuck reactions, and unmet needs. To get real psychic clarity, you need emotional clarity. Not numbness or distance, but clarity. The ability to feel deeply without being overwhelmed. This is emotional alchemy. Some days, feelings will hit hard. Your chest tightens, your mind races, your body sounds alarms. That's not weakness. It's your system surfacing old patterns trying to run again, but now you're aware. Every time you face a tough feeling without running or shutting down, you break a cycle. You choose growth over survival, creation over reaction. Over time, this becomes natural. You don't fear your feelings. You listen to them. You don't suppress them. You redirect them. You feel more. But with that comes freedom. Because now, your feelings don't own you. You own them. When you reach this point, your psychic signal becomes clear, strong, and magnetic. You stop attracting chaos, repeating old habits, or wasting energy. With that clarity, your intuition wakes up, not as a faint voice, but as a knowing you can't ignore. This isn't magic. It's a process. Your emotions aren't the problem. They're the raw material. The question is, will you burn them up, bury them, or turn them into light? There's no psychic power without focus. None. You can say affirmations all day, surround yourself with crystals, read every ancient book. But if your attention is all over the place, your power is too. Focus isn't a luxury. It's a tool. Without it, your thoughts are a fog. With it, your thoughts become sharp and powerful. Today's world tries hard to steal your focus. Your phone, social media, emails, noise. They break your attention into tiny pieces that can be controlled. A distracted mind is an obedient mind. That's no accident. Because once you take back your focus, you take back your life. You take back your will, and a strong, steady will is what shapes reality. Focus isn't about forcing your mind to stay still, clenching your jaw, or straining your eyes. True focus is devotion. It's calm with purpose. It's resting your mind fully on one thing, one word, one image, one intention, without drifting or reacting. When your attention is steady, your energy gathers. Your frequency stabilizes. Things that used to be hard become easier. Most people have never felt this. They don't realize how much energy they lose by constantly shifting their focus. 1 second here, 1 second there, pulled by every sound or thought. But when you practice focusing, even just for a few minutes, you'll feel a change. Your thoughts get quieter. Your nervous system relaxes. Your inner world becomes calm, not empty, but clear. This clarity is where psychic ability starts to form. You begin to notice thoughts that aren't yours before they arrive. You sense impressions before words are said. Your mental pictures become sharp and magnetic. This isn't imagination. It's creation at its earliest stage. Most people never get this far because their minds can't stay still long enough to build the connection. Start small. Focus on a single word, image, or breath. It doesn't matter what. What matters is practicing staying with it. You're not meditating just to feel calm. You're training to build energy. Over time, your focus becomes a force, a steady signal, a current that won't short out. You stop sending mixed messages to the universe. You become single-minded, not obsessed, but intentional. A focused mind has presence. You walk into a room and the energy shifts. You think of someone and they call. You hold a vision and life starts to move around it. This isn't supernatural. It's alignment. You've stopped spreading your energy thin across 1,000 things and started directing it with purpose. Psychic power isn't chaos. It's structure. It's clarity. It's focus sharpened until the invisible world responds like a scene on stage. Focus is the forge where thought becomes real. It's the hidden skill behind every intuitive insight, every prophetic dream, every energy command. Without focus, you're guessing. With it, you're creating. Your mind will fight at first. It will drift, resist, rebel. That's normal. Years of mental noise don't disappear overnight, but every time you bring your attention back, every second you hold your focus when distractions come, you're building power. Quiet, steady, unstoppable. This is why so many old practices, from martial arts to magic to spiritual traditions, start with concentration. Because concentration doesn't just help you develop psychic skills, it changes you. It clears away mental clutter and opens the path between your thoughts and what actually happens. When that path is clear, you don't have to force things or chase after them. You just focus, and things begin to move naturally. Concentration isn't about trying harder. It's about being in tune. It's about cutting through the noise until only the important signal is left. When your mind becomes sharp like a blade, your reality follows. Desire isn't weakness. It's not about craving or feeling like you don't have enough. Real desire is energy. It's the power that brings unseen things into the world. Every psychic ability, every gut feeling, every manifestation, every act of influence comes from desire. Not just wishing, but a strong inner current that makes things happen. Without desire, thoughts have no energy. They become weak and meaningless. But when desire is clear, focused, and sure, it creates a force strong enough to change reality. You've been taught to be wary of your desires, that wanting too much is greedy, that passion is risky, and that being content means not needing anything. But being content without movement is just being stuck. You weren't born to stand still. You were born to express. You were born to want, not from emptiness, but from remembering who you really are. Your true desires aren't pushed by ads or fear. They are echoes of what your soul already knows is possible. And when you align with those desires, the universe moves to support you. Desire becomes powerful when it's not driven by fear. That's the secret. Most people want things out of panic. They want money because they fear being poor, love because they fear loneliness, or recognition because they fear being invisible. But the energy they send out is the fear, not the desire. And that's what the world responds to. So they struggle and hustle, but their life stays the same because their energy hasn't really changed. They're still sending out pain, not truth. But when you connect with true desire, clear, calm, and confident desire, you become unstoppable. Your thoughts carry strength. Your vision isn't just a wish, it's a command. You're not begging for something, you're calling it into being. There's no grasping, only alignment. And alignment changes what's possible. Imagine a singer hitting a perfect note that breaks glass. That's what a pure desire does to reality. It resonates and cuts through the noise. The longer you hold that desire, the more the world reshapes itself. Not because you're forcing it, but because you've become a powerful signal. The universe has to respond. This is why desire without focus is risky. It fades away, it burns out, it turns into obsession, and obsession clouds your clarity. But when desire and attention come together, desire becomes a frequency, and frequency is the real power behind psychic abilities. You don't just feel pulled to something, you become the force pulling it in. You've experienced this before. The moment you just knew something was going to happen, and it did. The easy flow of things when you're calm and certain. That's not luck. That's resonance. A glimpse of your power to be a signal, not just a seeker. To build real psychic power, you start here. With what you want, what you're willing to claim, not with noise, but with knowing. You have to hold your desire long enough that it becomes part of who you are. Feel it clearly so doubt can't stick, so resistance has no place to land. This isn't about thinking about it once and walking away. It's about living it, breathing it, carrying it until wanting and reality become one. Most people don't fail because they want too much. They fail because their desire is scattered, weak, half-stated, whispered instead of shouted. The universe doesn't respond to hesitation, it responds to frequency. And frequency comes from steady, intentional desire. Desire is sacred. It's the electric signature of your soul's purpose. When you stop watering it down to make others comfortable, you'll see how powerful you really are. Desire isn't the enemy, it's the engine. And when you learn to direct it, everything starts to move. Many think change happens in sudden moments. Lightning strikes, big breakthroughs, quick awakenings. But real change doesn't come with noise. It comes quietly, under the surface, in the daily habits your mind builds. Habit isn't just behavior. It's frequency made permanent. It's the tone your nervous system hums that shapes how you see the world. React to it and send your psychic signal without even thinking. Thinking a powerful thought once doesn't change much, but thinking it thousands of times makes it a filter, a lens, a script your life follows. Repetition builds belief, and belief, whether you're aware of it or not, creates the life you live. Here's the truth. You don't get what you say once. You get what you say over and over, especially when you don't notice it. Look at your life, your patterns, how you talk about yourself when no one's around, the thoughts you keep coming back to. Those aren't harmless. They're instructions. Every thought loop you let run on its own programs your energy. Every emotional reaction you give into, every story you tell yourself, adds weight. The more you think something, the easier it is to think again. The mind folds where it's been folded before. This is where power either leaks out or builds up. Psychic growth isn't about a few clear moments. It's about building a mind and body that hold the signal steady, one that doesn't default to fear when things get tough, doesn't fall apart under pressure, or rely on others to feel strong. To have extraordinary insight, you need extraordinary mental strength, and that only comes through habit, through daily practice, through inner work no one else sees. Every expert knew this. The mystics, the magicians, the pros. They didn't chase big moments or quick wins. They focused on building a strong foundation. They repeated certain thoughts, held certain postures, and did rituals. Not out of superstition, but because of rhythm. They understood that your subconscious isn't convinced by sudden insights. It's convinced by what it sees every day, what it feels in your body, what it hears in your voice again and again, until doubt fades and truth becomes your new reality. Today's world doesn't get this. We celebrate fast results, instant success, quick affirmations. But the universe isn't paying attention to what you say once. It's watching what you practice, what you live by, what you come back to when nobody's looking, especially then. So, if you want to grow your inner strength, stop waiting for big, dramatic signs. Start taking control of your mental state. Choose a vibe, calm, clear, brave, and make it part of who you are. Say it, think it, live it. Not perfectly, but consistently. Every time you pick that new thought over an old one, you're rewiring your mind. Every repetition is a vote for the person you want to become. One day when life tests you, you won't hesitate. You won't fall into doubt. You'll respond from your new groove. That's not magic, it's momentum. Habit is the great equalizer. You don't need to be born gifted or the most intuitive person in the room. You just need to train, not for an hour, but for life. Until the mindset you want becomes the background music of your life. Until focusing is your default. Until being aligned isn't something you chase. It's just how you live. Real experts don't obsess over powers. They obsess over getting better. Because they know the ability to influence energy, see beyond the ordinary, and change reality doesn't come from rare flashes. It comes from what you do over and over. And if your habits don't match that power, it doesn't matter how many books you read or how much you believe, the signal will stay weak. But if your daily routine matches the future you want, nothing can stop it. This is where the invisible work shows up in real results, where unseen effort turns into visible change, and habit stops feeling like a chore and becomes a sacred rhythm. Repeating isn't boring, it's sacred. It's how you tell the universe, I'm not just curious, I'm committed. And when that commitment lives deep inside you, the world starts to respond. What if the things that happen in your life aren't random? What if what you call luck, coincidence, or divine timing isn't about chance at all, but precision? What if psychic ability isn't about luck or sudden insights, but about being in tune with invisible laws, just as real and strict as gravity? You weren't born to be at the mercy of random events. You were born to cause things to happen. There's a big misconception that keeps most people stuck. The idea that life just happens to them, that results are random, and miracles are rare exceptions instead of signs of a deeper order. But when you truly get this one truth, that the universe doesn't run on chance but on law, You stop reacting and start creating. Not blindly, not just hoping, but with clear intention. The law is simple. What you expect, not just wish or imagine, but truly expect, is what comes back to you. This isn't just positive thinking. It's psychic engineering. Your expectations are like signals. They aren't invisible requests. They're commands carried in your feelings, your body language, your deep certainty or doubt. And the universe listens to that feeling, not your words. That's why so many people struggle to make things happen. They do rituals, say affirmations, imagine outcomes, but underneath, they still expect to fail. They hope, but don't truly believe. They ask, but don't line up inside. So nothing changes. Energy doesn't respond to surface stuff. It responds to the deep code you carry when no one's watching. That code follows the law of vibration, assumption, resonance. These aren't just ideas, they're how reality works. You can't see these laws, but you feel them. You know how one person walks into a room and everything shifts. You know how your mood changes when someone speaks with confidence and depth. That's not magic. That's being in tune with the law. You're not here to trick reality or take shortcuts. You're here to connect with it so deeply that reality has no choice but to match you. That's the real power of psychic growth. Not breaking the rules, but mastering them. To stop reacting to outside chaos and start tracing it back to your own inner structure. Because once you see the root cause, you can change the outcome every time. When you live by these laws, you stop gambling. You stop waiting for signs. You become the sign. You walk with the energy of something inevitable, not desperate. And people notice. Time seems to bend. Coincidences multiply. Not because the universe is being nice, but because you're finally tuned into the same frequency it's been broadcasting all along. The moment you stop thinking your life is all chance is the moment you start playing at a whole new level. From that point on, 'cause isn't outside, it's inside you. You create from alignment, not force. From intention, not struggle. That's when the psychic gifts you've been chasing start to unlock. Because you're no longer fighting the current. You've become it. Most people fear this kind of power because it comes with responsibility. If everything in your life depends on your inner state, you can't blame the world anymore. You can't play the victim. You have to own your frequency. But with that ownership comes total freedom. Because once you understand how the system works, you stop being a passenger. You take the wheel. Here's the irony. What we call supernatural is usually just natural law that people don't understand or ignore. Things like clairvoyance, intuition, and synchronicity. They aren't glitches or magic tricks. They're actually clues about how the world really works. You're already connected to these laws. The real question is, are you working with them or against them? And if that makes you uncomfortable, good. That feeling of discomfort means the truth is pushing against the limits of who you used to think you were. Let it break through. Because once you realize life follows laws, not luck, you stop waiting around. You start taking charge. Awakening isn't a one-time event. It's a return to the power you never really lost, just forgot you had. The truth is, you already have everything you're looking for. The psychic power you want isn't something new to get. It's something inside you waiting to be uncovered once you clear away the noise, the doubts, and the programming. Your mind was always meant to see through illusions. Your energy was always meant to affect reality. You've just been trained to doubt it, to filter it through disbelief, to quiet it with logic that serves the system, not you. The world doesn't encourage awakening. It encourages control. Control of your feelings, your expectations, your behavior. It rewards those who stay quiet and follow the rules and punishes those who remember what's really possible. But once you start seeing how control works, how your thoughts are shaped, your desires guided, your focus directed, you can't unsee it. That's the turning point. That's when the veil lifts, not by force, but by becoming aware. You realize the system never had real power. It only had your permission. Reclaiming your psychic self means taking that permission back. Not loudly or angrily, but quietly and steadily. By refusing to feed the parts of you that keep you small. By no longer holding on to limits you never chose. By breaking the invisible agreements that keep you living someone else's version of reality. That's where everything starts to change. You stop asking for proof and start feeling what's real. You stop waiting for permission and start listening to the voice that's always been there under the noise. The one that speaks not in words, but in knowing. It doesn't beg or shout. It just speaks clearly and simply. That voice is your guide, your compass, your connection to the deeper structure of reality. The more you listen to it, the louder it gets. The more you follow it, the clearer your path becomes. Synchronicities aren't accidents. They're confirmations. Echoes of a self that already knows the way. Most people wait to feel ready before they begin. But readiness isn't a feeling. It's a choice. You choose to wake up. You choose to trust what you know inside instead of following the rules. You choose to act as the person you really are, not the one you were trained to be. That one choice sends ripples through everything. Your energy changes. Opportunities line up. People treat you differently, not because you told them to, but because your energy did. This is the true start of power. When you don't use your psychic ability to escape life, but to shape it. Not to avoid the world, but to guide it from a higher place. You don't just react to what happens. You send out signals that change it. You don't just read people. You see patterns. You don't hope for a better future. You create it with your thoughts, feelings, and intentions. Now ask yourself, if this is possible, why haven't you done it yet? What belief is holding you back? That you're not ready? That you need more time, more signs, more proof? That belief isn't the truth. It's programming, and you can let it go right now. Not after 30 days of meditation, not when your life is perfect. Power isn't in the future. It's right now. In the moment you decide you won't wait to become who you already are. If you've made it this far, you already feel it. The shift, the reset. And deep down, you know this isn't just information, it's remembering. The real question isn't, is this real? But, what would happen if I lived like it was? This is the path to true freedom, psychic clarity, and inner power you can't fake or borrow. Yes, it's uncomfortable sometimes. It makes everything that's not real fall away. But what you get back is priceless. A life designed by you, not by default. A mind that doesn't obey fear. A spirit that owns its power without apology. The last lie they told you is that awakening is the end of the journey. That once you know the truth, it's over. You've arrived. But awakening isn't an end. It's a doorway, a point of no return. Because once you realize your thoughts are powerful, your emotions carry energy, and your focus shapes worlds, you don't just wake up, you evolve. You start living from a place of strength, not just survival. This is where psychic growth stops being about powers and starts being about responsibility. Not guilt or pressure, but clear understanding. You see that every word, every thought, every feeling you send out changes something. Your future, your relationships, the unseen world around you. Nothing you do is neutral. Energy moves, and now you move it on purpose. You become deliberate, not rigid, but intentional. You stop living to impress others and start living to express yourself. You don't need approval because you know you're aligned. You don't crave control because you've tasted the flow of letting go. This isn't detachment, it's mastery. The psychic doesn't run from chaos. They transform it. They don't fear emotions. They feel them, understand them, and refine them. Because now they know everything is data, everything is a signal, feedback from a reality that reflects, not judges. And here's the big change. You stop trying to get psychic powers. You realize that you are the power. Instead of chasing more, you focus on deepening what's already inside you. You sharpen your intuition until it's not just a quiet whisper, it becomes your guiding compass. You strengthen your vision so your thoughts don't just stay in your head, they actually send instructions to reality. You hold your presence so strongly that people feel it before you even say a word. You start living from the inside out. The world stops telling you who you are. You tell the world what's real. Not by forcing things, but by sending the right frequency. Not by arguing, but by simply being. Your presence becomes your proof. Your energy becomes your message. People might ask, how do you know things you shouldn't? Or, why do things always seem to work out for you? But they're asking the wrong question. It's not about luck. It's about law. It's about resonance. You stopped tuning into the noise and started broadcasting your true signal. And now, the world is tuning into you. This is what it means to live beyond normal human experience. Not floating above life, but diving deeply into it. Every interaction becomes a meaningful ritual. Every challenge becomes a reflection of yourself. Every day is a chance to grow and get better. You're no longer just moving through the system. You're rewriting your own code and the code of your reality. So what's next? You don't go back to sleep. You go even deeper. You teach others, not by trying to convince them, but by living your truth. You surround yourself with clarity, creativity, and people who reflect your highest energy back to you. Not to flatter you, but to help you sharpen your focus. And if those people don't exist yet, you become the signal that calls them in. Your energy creates the new world. Remember, what you've unlocked is only the beginning. The Kabbalion, which you'll get when you join the Free Insights Academy newsletter, isn't just a book. It's a key, a map to understanding the laws that shape everything you think is real. You'll find the link in the description. Don't wait. Truth like this doesn't hang around. It calls you to rise up and meet it. If this video spoke to you, let us know by commenting, "I understood it."